that experience seems to play a profound role for someone to reach the proficiency in English similar to the people who were born here. And then people who arrived later seem to have, on average, have lower proficiency in English. And that kind of gets worse as the age increases for them to arrive in the U.S. So this graph is not that I wanted to show you guys that to discourage you guys. And I mean, look at me. I mean, it's okay to be imperfect. It improves over time. But what I wanted to show you was the what it is like to have like sensitive periods. But later on, the people can improve. Like 280 to 220 is not a huge differences. So over time, the people would develop the proficiency in English enough that they wouldn't have any difficulties in their daily life. It's just that language seems to have a certain ceiling point depending on when people are first exposed to second language. Does that make sense to you? Do you have any question about this? Okay. So the next one is that the language. So also it's very interesting because the infants were probably a birth to almost like the first 6 months and a little bit of beyond that they're called citizens of the world. And the reason why they're called that way is that because at that young age, infants can distinguish syllables or any sounds from any languages. So it's not just their own languages, but they can actually distinguish, Hindi and Salish. It's not from my own language, but even the kids from the America English background can distinguish that two sounds very, very well at 6 to 8 months age. But as you can see here, that window closes by they reach the first year of their birthday. So, and this is the kids that who are from that background, they still have that ability to distinguish that. So, not so many other kind of ability that people have this sensitive periods, but language seems to have this kind of sensitive periods. And why do you think that people have this sensitive periods? Why can't we just kind of have this ability until now, so we can distinguish sounds from any languages? Why do you think that we develop this? We kind of loses the ability to distinguish sounds from other languages, regardless where you are, but it started kind of disappearing, except the language that you actually speak every day.
Because you start to develop another abilities, and then probably you need to focus more on these other things.
Yes, yes. So people actually say that may be the one reason, because if you distinguish thousands of millions of sounds, that's very difficult for you to actually focus on your own language, which is actually probably the most important. And our brain is very sophisticated, has a lot of ability, but it is limited at some point. So people guessing that's probably why that we kind of slowly loses this ability so that we can focus on our own language and being more proficient. So there's some kind of adaptive functions to it. The next thing I want to talk about is that how parenting affects our development and how that's a little bit different across different cultures. So I'm just gonna do a little survey. Does anybody know what's corporal punishment? Does anybody know what's corporal punishment? Does anybody know? No?
Contact.
Huh?
Physical contact.
Yes. So that's the punishing kids by hitting. So So there's a verbal punishment, like you can tell kids that, being pretty like very scary way and threatening way. Corporal punishment is hitting, either using tools like a sticks and things like that, or just using hands. So I'm just gonna raise your hand. There's no right and wrong answer in any countries. So don't feel bad about answering in either way. But what do you think that the corporal punishment should be banned at home? Anybody believes that corporal punishment should be banned at home? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The rest of them. So what about the people who should be allowed? The belief that it should be allowed at home, the corporal punishment. Okay. Good. There's more people. What about corporal punishment in school? That how many people believe that it should be banned? Oh, more people. The parents have a right. What about people thinks that in school it should be allowed? No one? Okay, so let's just have a couple minutes, talk to each other in the group and talk about why you believe that, especially at home and school, that corporal punishment should be allowed or banned. So just a couple minutes.